What's up, everyone? Welcome into Attacking Third One Shot alongside Sandra Herrera. I'm Lisa Carlin. Our A3 One Shots is where we jump on youtube.com/attacking third and tackle one topic in a moment that arises, whether it's breaking news, a developing story, or a further deep dive into an expansion of our previous conversation. When these things arrive, we text each other, we jump on because we want to bring everyone the news. Sandra, how's it going today?
It's going. I'm smirking at the we text each other. It's like we text. First of all, we're always texting each other all the time. But when there's something newsy, we're definitely like, "What's going on here? What's the reaction?" And here we are doing this again.
Here we are. Our attacking third one shot today is because the Seattle Reign has put on loan defender Sofia Huerta. She is headed to France to play for Olympique Lyonnais. Last night, this news dropped that Seattle Reign was going to send Huerta over to France. And this comes at very pivotal point in the season, Sandra. With just 7 matches left, Seattle Reign are set to take on defending NWSL champions Gotham FC at home this Monday night. It's a point in the season where it is an absolute push for playoffs for everyone, but especially the Seattle Reign right now. They sit on the outside looking in 10th place in the NWSL standings. And Sofia Huerta is a huge part of not only the defense for Seattle Reign, but also their buildup in attack. She leads the team in minutes played this season. She started every single match that she has played in. When you heard this news, Sandra, what was your first reaction that Seattle is putting Sofia Huerta over to Lyon?
It went in a couple different directions, and I'll say the first direction was what you just kind of highlighted right now. Like, it's the second half of the season. We're talking constantly about the playoff push. This is a huge piece to technically lose in the middle of that as Seattle's got really hitting some good form. And the other one, honestly, was a little bit of a brain fog because I was like, oh, there was definitely some ties here before in the past. It threw me all the way back to 2020 when OL Group was part of a partnership with the former OL Reign. And part of that partnership has perks maybe, and we saw a trio of players, Rain players, head on over to France during that time to just sort of get involved and immersed in a training environment like Lyon, right? Because we just hear what a franchise they are and how they have such a stacked roster and what that's like. So it also kind of jogged my memory in that sense as well. Now it's a full on loan for Huerta to Lyon.
It comes at a very interesting point in Sofia Huerta's season and career as well, because back in April, Sofia Huerta signed a 3-year extension to remain with Seattle through 2027. And this season specifically, when you look at the stats for Sofia Huerta, not only has she started and played every minute of all 19 games, she leads the team in minutes. She is a absolute pillar in the defense for Seattle. She has 2 goals on the season, 129 crosses, 77 duels, 52 clearances, 27 interceptions, 15 tackles, 1. But when you look at her game as a whole, she does so much in the way that Seattle wants to attack. It is using their outside backs to get up higher into the field and whip crosses in. And she is so much of that. Now, it hasn't always worked for Seattle, but this movement for Sofia Huerta is really crucial, I think, for the development of her game. After this announcement dropped, Sofia Huerta took to social media and did put out statements kind of addressing all of this, which is really key always, Sandra, to hear directly from the player. So Sofia Huerta put out a statement that said that, quote, "I'm so grateful for the Reign, the coaching staff, and my teammates for supporting me in this personal decision to pursue an opportunity to compete overseas." She said, quote, "I have so much confidence in this group to continue working towards the goals we set at the start of the season. And I can't wait to cheer on the team down the stretch." Down the stretch is crucial. They currently sit 10th in the table, just 3 points below the playoff line. How much of a loss is this for Seattle without Huerta in these final 7 weeks?
I think there's a little bit of a layer of knowledge there. They know that. They know that it's a loss without saying it. This is not a lot of time left remaining in this second half of the season, and yet somehow Seattle have found themselves playing some exciting football, winning games at the death, and making things and shaking things up along the way. Did they get too slow of a start in the beginning of the season to meet that playoff line? Maybe, but that's the question that we're waiting to be answered. And I think maybe you also layer in the fact that they could get there if they've got the pieces. And for a long time for Seattle, that piece was Sofia Huerta as your
Mhm.
right back. And now that's not going to be there anymore. How are they going to make those adjustments? What does that look like going forward? And honestly, I appreciate the comments from everyone involved, whether it's Sofia Huerta, with her statement, or the GM and Laura Harvey as head coach, because it provides a little bit of context, right? That this is maybe something that wasn't necessarily saying like requested or demanded or anything like that, but has been in the works, and now it's kind of finally coming into fruition. But it definitely maybe raises some question marks around how the Reign are going to look moving forward as they are now hitting this stride. Is something like this going to kind of shake things up in terms of that momentum that they have finally sustained?
They've just picked up a couple wins in a row, right? 5
Yeah.
undefeated in the last 5 matches, which has been a struggle for Seattle this season to find that consistency, to have really significant goal scoring opportunities. They've made some changes throughout the summer, right? They sent Bethany Balcer over to Louisville. They brought in Jalen Howell to try to solidify some of the midfield. I think G has really grown her game throughout this season in the NWSL and under Laura Harvey. The comments that Laura Harvey made about this decision, I think, are definitely telling. She said, head coach of the Seattle Reign, quote, "We are supportive of Sophia's decision. It has been something we have spoken about at length throughout the summer. We as a club are focusing on our push for the playoffs. As I've said before, our locker room has a really good vibe right now, and the collective group is eager to get back on the field to continue our push for results." Additionally, the GM, Leslie Gallimore, also made a reference to that. This was kind of a long time coming for Sofia, saying that Reign FC is a club that takes pride in doing what's right for its players. In the case of Sofia Huerta's loan to Lyon, this was an opportunity that arose earlier this summer. Sofia expressed interest in exploring it for both personal and professional reasons. And this agreement also allows us to add resources to target impact signings in the winter transfer window, allowing our club to continue contending for trophies. So it's been in the works for a little. There have been conversations around this summer. In context of the NWSL season, Sandra, the CBA was signed and went into effect pretty immediately, that players were going to have a lot more autonomy over their playing careers, where they wanted to go. How much of an influence do you think that had in the timing of this loan for Huerta?
I think it has a huge influence, but maybe it's even not just so much for players specifically. I think this particular move also coming off of the back of a recent GM survey that we all reacted to earlier in the week about anonymous quotes about maybe some feelings of the framing of players having too much power and all of that. Feel free to check out that reactive episode that we did. But I think this is actually really good for, yes, of course, Sofia Huerta, but I think this also really puts the Reign in a further positive light. You want to see teams take a look at this new CBA and say, here are the regulation and windows in which we're supposed to work in, protocols, not windows, the protocols in which we're supposed to function. And let's definitely do the good business. The good business meaning what's good for club and player, and make sure that everything gets ironed out, I's dotted, T's crossed. And I think it looks like a win, not just for player, because this has been in the works for a while, but it goes back and it's a reference point for the club as they maybe look ahead to that winter window. Like Gallimore mentioned, that when they get there, there's going to be an example here that when you get to the Reign, we're still going to do our due diligence and our efforts to make sure that we are a competitive club first, but we want to make sure that this is an environment that players want to come to and that we will work with in the future if things arise.
Now, the natural progression of this conversation, Sandra, is, of course, we wish Sofia Huerta all the best, but looking just at Seattle Reign now, who the heck is going to step in and fill that role? Because she's played every single minute in that position. It's
Oh,
a tricky question. Do you have any a guess? Because we won't know till Monday night when Seattle take the pitch again, but who could possibly fill this hole that is already at Seattle right now, looking at the immediate future of this weekend?
Yeah, no, that's where the other focus is, right? For folks, like, well, what does it mean? Like, who's it going to be? It's so funny to go down through the roster and you're like, person is an attacker, this person's a defender, this person's a midi, and you're like, you're getting through the depth, and you're just like, the right back is Sofia Huerta. So that's going to be like, who's it going to be? Are they going to shake things up? Will we see a swap? Will we see like Shea Holmes get time at right back? Ryan, like Brown maybe
Yeah,
could have
Brown.
could have been an option, but now it's kind of like these are the questions that arise where you're navigating player movement, maybe player injury. Is this Phoebe McLaurin's time to maybe shine on the right side specifically? But these are also players who have had experience on the left, so it's like who's it going to be? Who's going to feel that that ease of sort of transformation from one side to the other quicker, really?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think Lauren Barnes, we could see her potentially get more minutes and then a shift in the back
Yeah.
line. She's a player that is a veteran and a leader on this squad. It'll be really, really interesting to see what happens. And to me, also, this says that from the top down at Seattle Reign, they want to make it into the playoffs. They want a chance to win an NWSL championship, and that they are going to take these moves and do what they can with the players on their roster, or to open up roster space to bring in other players to make that run. I would not be surprised if we see maybe a little bit of a formation shift. Could we see a 3-back this weekend? Because Seattle Reign takes the field on Monday night, 10 p.m. to take on Gotham FC. That match happening on CBS Sports Network. So they do have a couple days, right, of training to build this and figure it out. But there's also, as we're doing this A3 one chat, there's some other breaking news coming out of Seattle Reign FC. Sandra, I mean, you go live, you just stay live forever.
This is our fault, really, Lisa.
Seattle Reign FC loans defender Lily Woodham to Crystal Palace FC. So another defender out of Seattle on loan on an option year. So Lily Woodham won't be filling in that right back role.
It's like it's like, who's it gonna be? Like, you asked me that question, you're like, who's it's gonna be? It's like, well, I know it's not gonna be Lily. Like, this is another one of those options. Like, and this is what I'm saying, where Seattle's making these moves. They're like feeling the locker room energy right now. They're trying to climb that table to at least meet that playoff line. Who knows if there's going to be another move in the works here for them. And I love these one shots, Lisa, because it gives us an opportunity to reflect on the news that drops. Apparently the news that drops while we're talking about the news that already dropped. And it gives us a chance to kind of like laugh at ourselves a little bit, because we literally just yesterday did a great segment on A3 where we were talking about making predictions with our crystal ball. And like, if Sofia Huerta was going to be this player to like match that or break that assist record, and she's going to Lyon, so throw that out the window. And here we are today, just talking about it all.
Jess McDonald, who holds the record for assists in the NWSL right now, is breathing a sigh of relief. She wants to hold on to that record. I know she does, Jess. Congrats. You get it for another year, because Huerta is gone. That's it. That's our breaking news. Seattle Reign FC loan defender Sofia Huerta to France to play for Olympique Lyon to end out her season. A big shift. They've also sent defender Lily Woodham over to Crystal Palace overseas. Big news. Final thoughts from you, Sandra, on this huge move and maybe what we can expect from Seattle this weekend?
You know, sometimes big moves lead to big things. So let's see what Seattle's going to bring this weekend and how they ride out the rest of the season. Playoffs or bust, it feels like.
It is around the corner. Seattle Reign take on Gotham FC Monday night, 10 p.m. on CBS Sports Golazo Network. Thanks for joining us, everyone, on this A3 One Shot. We will be back in studio on Monday to recap how Seattle does, who fills the hole in the right back position for Laura Harvey. Thank you, everyone. Make sure you follow Attacking Third wherever you get your podcast and leave us a 5-star rating and review. We're available youtube.com/Attacking Third, and you can watch us on the CBS Sports Golazo Network for all your women's football coverage. For Mark, Sandra, and Lisa, this was Attacking Third.